Hey guys, just a quick note before we start the show here. You're going to notice a very bizarre looking setup behind me during the latter portion of this video, and that's because there was just this really obtrusive glare that was completely obscuring everything in the picture, so I had to try my best to block it, and well, that was kind of the best I could get together at the last minute there. Also, during the final thoughts segment, the dryer winds up kicking on in the background. Sorry, so apologies for the background noise you're going to hear there. This is why I no longer record at 1:30 in the afternoon. Alright, let's start the show.
I know what you're thinking. No, this isn't that all-star Batman. There's no Dick Grayson age 12, no Vicky Vale parading around her underwear, no you've just been drafted, no I'm the gosh darn Batman, no Dick Grayson eating rats in a cave, no out of my way sperm bank, no painting a room yellow to thwart Green Lantern, no sex with Black Canary on a rooftop with the masks on, no poorly censored swearing Batgirl. What the hell were they thinking?
No, this is a different All-Star Batman that was launched during the DC Rebirth event, which we covered in New Superman Volume 1. Rebirth saw the merging of DC's New 52 universe with its pre-Flashpoint incarnation.
Which really didn't affect Batman that much, as his continuity was kind of the least altered by the New 52 relaunch. I mean, heck, one could argue that the supporting cast of the Bat family got affected more, like Barbara Gordon being Batgirl again, and Tim Drake's history as Robin.
Much of Batman's New 52 run was helmed by writer Scott Snyder, who developed some unique stories and new villains. With the main Batman title reverting to writer Tom King post-DC Rebirth, All-Star Batman would allow Snyder to pick up his story and continue it from where he left off.
The first story arc of this new series would delve into the personal relationship and history between Bruce Wayne Batman and Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face. Now, when we last left Harvey, his horrible scarring and thus his dissociative identity disorder had mysteriously healed during the Hush storyline. Obviously, it did not take.
In the wake of the Infinite Crisis event, Harvey would actually fill in for Batman, who was off on a year-long journey of self-discovery. However, when the Caped Crusader returned, Dent buckled under the pressure as Batman continuously got all the glory. This caused Two-Face to re-emerge, with Dent even going far as to re-scar his face in the process. Then, during the New 52 relaunch, Dent's Two-Face origin was altered when a female mobster killed Harvey's wife and burned his face. Dent went on to then attempt to bathe Gotham City in acid rain in order to create more people like him, while also revealing that he always knew Bruce Wayne's identity as Batman.
Naturally, Batman was able to thwart Two-Face, who desperately wanted Batman to just kill him, though of course Batman subscribes to a no-kill policy, which of course leads us into the story arc we're covering today. This is All-Star Batman Volume 1, My Own Worst Enemy.
At a greasy spoon outside of Gotham City, patrons are sitting down for the dinner rush, only for it to be interrupted as Batman and Two-Face come crashing inside, followed by Firefly and Killer Moth. The two hired guns demand that Two-Face be turned over, and Batman acts fast, disabling the weapons of both villains. That being said, the innocent bystanders aren't exactly thankful as the Dark Knight is yanked out by another hired gun called Black Spider. Batman manages to arm himself with a chainsaw to take down the Spider, only to be held at gunpoint by the patrons of the diner, who now want Two-Face for themselves. This all started 2 weeks ago when Batman received a message from Harvey Dent, who claimed he had control over Two-Face. Harvey seemed to have formulated a way to eliminate Two-Face forever and stated that it was stored at the house, but it needed to be done before the villain took over again. Though people like Alfred, Jim Gordon, and The Signal voiced their concerns, Batman elected to take Harvey up on the offer, even throwing Two-Face's trademark two-headed coin into the river.
Alright, we've got a lot to unpack here, so Firefly is Garfield Linus, a former low-level thief turned arsonist who commits his crimes using a variety of flamethrowing equipment. You would probably know him best as that guy Brendan Fraser was supposed to play in the recently cancelled Batgirl film. Killer Moth, on the other hand, is Drury Walker, another former low-level thief who adapted a moth gimmick to commit his crimes, even going as far as to turn himself into a moth-human hybrid called Shiraxis. Though, let's face it, most of you probably know him from that one episode of Teen Titans where he really wanted Robin to date his daughter. Last, but certainly not least, is Batman's new protege in crime fighting, Duke Thomas. Now, Duke's parents were poisoned by the Joker, which left them criminally scarred and insane in the process. And, well, Batman has drafted Duke into his war on crime, and Duke would later adopt the name The Signal, though at this point he's not technically called that. I'm going to call him that for sake of ease.
Just as Batman flew Harvey out of the city, a recorded Two-Face put out a message with an offer to anyone who could hear it. Take down Batman and free Two-Face, and the person or people involved will receive dossiers on everyone in Gotham City to do with as they please. This isn't just limited to criminals, it's every person who has ever set foot in Gotham City that has a file on them. The deal is too much for anyone to really turn, as even a tearful Alfred admits as he launches a missile at the Batplane. Moving back to the present, Batman tries to talk down the diner patrons as Two-Face reasserts control, even going as far as to flip a new two-headed coin. One of the diners then proceeds to shoot the Dark Knight in the back with a gun, and this proves to be enough of a distraction for Batman to snatch Two-Face and ferret him away to a nearby truck. Batman then gets another call from Alfred, who has another bit of information. Apparently, Two-Face has tipped off the Gotham City Police Department about a hidden cave at Wayne Manor. The police now have a search warrant and are on their way.
This does beg the question as to whether or not Jim Gordon is actually aware that Bruce Wayne is Batman. It's always been implied that he's aware, but he never officially states it in any way, shape, or form, so he can maintain some level of plausible deniability.
Batman is jumped by Killer Croc, King Shark, and Amygdala as he and Two-Face hop a train. The three monosyllabic Hulk monsters can easily overpower Batman, so it's going to take some finesse and a few acid pellets to throw them and not Mama from the train. However, there's no chance to rest as two new villains, Cheshire and Copperhead, who both specialize in poison attacks, manage to shoot both men as the train exits a tunnel. Batman poisons Two-Face, which forces the two to become strapped together in exchange for the antidote. Batman then throws himself and Two-Face over a bridge. Funny thing though, there are those who don't want any information getting out, namely three crime bosses, Penguin, Black Mask, and Great White. They know that they're going to need a lot of help in order to eliminate both Two-Face and Batman, especially since the latter will do anything to protect the former. It's so much that they're willing to offer things that they probably really could never follow through on. Back at the Batcave, Duke asks about this house that Harvey and Batman were heading towards, with Alfred bringing up some information about the supposed cure that Two-Face has. Duke recognizes something about it and rushes off to go try to locate Batman. Meanwhile, Batman and Two-Face emerge from the river only for federal authorities to ambush them and take down Batman with a sniper shot that knocks him unconscious. That being said, Two-Face isn't going to prison and helps Batman stage an escape attempt only for the vehicle to suddenly be halted by the hired gun of Penguin, Mask, and Great White. It's Anatoly Kunyezev, the KG Beast.
If the name weren't enough of a clue, the KG Beast is a former master assassin for an American-based cell of the KGB called the Hammer, who eventually went freelance when the Soviet Union collapsed. Now, while the KG Beast has managed to equal Batman in combat on several occasions, it's his constant fear of the Bat's contingency plans that often wind up causing him to lose.
Batman is thrown from the police vehicle as it crashes into KG Beast. Even at 100%, this would be a challenge for the Dark Knight, but now it's a very difficult venture to try to fight this assassin. Two-Face actually does try to intercede, only to wind up getting a shuriken right into his damaged eye for his effort. However, before the Beast can deliver any killing blows, he's taken out with a loud crunk. It's the signal as a car for everyone to escape in. That being said, Harvey's got severe damage to his already severely damaged face and needs surgery. Thankfully, Batman knows of a place and directs Duke to the isolated home of Harold Allnut.
Again, harkening back to my review of the Batman storyline Hush, Harold Allnut is a mute with kyphosis who acts as Batman's chief mechanic and troubleshooter. As well as a surgeon now, apparently. I guess he managed to get his medical degree after coming back from the dead, seeing as that he was killed during Hush.
As Harold does his best to patch Harvey up, Batman explains to Duke what's just so important about this house. It turns out that this was a home for troubled boys started by the Arkham family to provide a way to a better life and to help distance the family from Arkham Asylum, from which they were already so entwined. Bruce had been acting out violently in the wake of his parents' death and was sent to the house where he encountered Harvey Dent, who was there after his abusive father abandoned him. Harvey's father was an abusive gambling addict who always tried to rig games via a two-tailed coin as opposed to a two-headed coin. Harvey and Bruce bonded, but eventually Harvey would wind up going back to his father, who claimed he had reformed, even going as far as to transform the two-tailed coin into a two-headed coin. Both boys were aware that this change was probably only temporary, so Harvey allowed Bruce to simply throw the coin away.
I should point out that while they were staying at the Arkham house, the boys were stripped of their names, with Harvey being referred to as 2A and Bruce being referred to as 2B thanks to the room number.
With Harvey now stabilized, Batman and the Signal now leave the farm, strapping Harvey to an airboat along the way.
Woohoo! Airboat! Oh, man!
However, Two-Face had actually overheard much of the conversation Duke had with Batman earlier and has a contingency plan of his own. He has arranged for the group to be attacked by a collective of Talons from the Court of Owls.
The Court of Owls is a secret criminal cabal run by the societal elite of Gotham that has been in operation since the 1600s, and whose members have even included people from the Wayne family. Appropriately enough, the chief assassins of the court are called Talons.
Batman and the Signal get pinned to a sewer wall where Two-Face describes what exactly this cure is designed to do. It's designed to eliminate the weaker personality, which means that the stronger personality remaining might not necessarily be the one everyone wants. Still, Batman is hopeful that Harvey will eventually be in charge. That really doesn't mean much to Two-Face, as he splashes the Dark Knight's visor with acid, causing Batman to become temporarily blinded. Batman is still able to activate some security measures, including a sonar mode, which at least allows him to detect the size and shape of certain objects. He and the Signal begin fighting back, and this causes Harvey to flee out of the sewers and try to get out off a text message before he's eventually dropped by the Signal. The two heroes then borrow a biplane in order to fly Harvey over to the house, only to once more be attacked by the KG Beast. This time, the trio are brought to an abandoned riverboat where the Beast hopes to use his new money to set up a seasteading operation in international waters. Penguin, Black Mask, and Great White are there as well, and they reveal a message that they received from none other than Harvey Dent, who explains that Two-Face has always had a GPS tracking device implanted on his body the whole time.
Why exactly? Because in some ways, Harvey has actually been the stronger personality the whole time. I mean, the idea that Two-Face has to flip a coin to decide people's fates is more his idea, not really Harvey's. Harvey just liked playing with the two-headed coin. Then again,
it turns out that Two-Face already knew about the GPS unit and what the mob would go to in order to keep any of their secrets from getting out. So instead of giving the activation code for the downloaded information, he winds up getting the activation code for a bomb. It also turns out that that text message he sent was a mass mail giving the GPS information to anyone who received it. This results in a bunch of the people from the diner gathering outside the riverboat. Granted, none of them are exactly skilled enough to fight off the KG Beast, so in order to save pretty much everyone, Batman has to activate the riverboat to steer it away and push it out to the river and straight towards a waterfall.
Sharp rocks at the bottom?
Most likely.
Bring it on.
Batman, the Signal, and Two-Face manage to float to safety on a comically oversized poker chip as some explosives direct the boat back towards the riverbank. The chip winds up going over the falls, with Batman and the Signal using their capes as sort of parachutes in order to soften the landing. After dealing with two lackeys named Tweedledee and Tweedledum, I'm not joking, the group then borrows the lackey's van to make it to the Arkham home.
oh, and that whole police raid on Wayne Manor? Well, they wound up discovering Bruce Wayne's secret man cave. Yeah, this is probably just a little security measure to reroute unauthorized access to the Batcave.
Once inside the house, Batman finds the cure hidden in the floorboards in their old room. Batman runs a test and discovers the truth, that the serum was derived from the same poison that the Joker used on Duke Thomas's parents. Yes, the stronger personality will eventually win out, however, any stabilization is going to be temporary, and the individual involved will revert to being a psychopath. Either way, Two-Face is going to win out. Two-Face then pulls out another phone and calls Alfred, who explains what happened with the missile and the police raid. This causes Batman to attack Two-Face and apparently inject him with the cure in the process. Batman then forces Harvey to not only call off the bounty on his head, but also to destroy all of his downloaded files. It's then that Batman winds up revealing the truth. Duke had actually tipped him off as to the nature of the cure and knew that it wasn't going to work. So Batman had worked with Harold in order to develop a specialized booster serum. This booster would have actually neutralized the prolonged insanity. However, Batman has now just injected Harvey with only the booster, meaning that Harvey and Two-Face will be at war with each other forever.
Also, the booster has been laced with a sedative, so now Two-Face can be taken back to Arkham. Except for the tiny little problem that the KG Beast is still running around.
The Beast manages to run Batman through with a spear, but his assault is halted by the arrival of the citizens looking for the reward. It distracts the assassin long enough for Batman to tackle him over a ledge with a signal catching the caper's satyr and keeping him to safety. The crowd then disperses as they realize there is no reward, and Two-Face is taken back into custody.
And that concludes our look at All-Star Batman Volume 1, My Own Worst Enemy. Now, there is a little backup story, but I'll get to that in just a bit. How was the story overall? Well, on the plus side, I think it's a good, fun action-adventure caper with a lot of great twists in the storytelling coupled with some really nice artwork, and so there's good characterization throughout everything. On the downside is I don't like the fact that the narrative constantly bounces back and forth through the timeline. It's often hard just to keep track of things when stuff like that happens. It's nice early on, but after a while I really wish they had just gone into a straightforward measure. Also, there's that backup story I mentioned, which is basically following Duke Thomas as he starts out his crime-fighting career while working with Bruce to try to cure his parents. And while that's an okay story, it's basically just some backup stories that were in the issues and then got cobbled together and put at the end of the trade. And I think it might have actually done better if it were at the beginning of the trade, as it could help serve as an introduction to Duke Thomas for the uninitiated. So yeah, that is a little bit of a drawback. Still, this is a really fun story, and to be honest, it's not so bad. Don't let the title of All-Star Batman scare you off. This gets an A. So yes, it's very enjoyable. And with that, let's see what we're doing next time on the Random Trade Review.
Hey guys, remember you can help support the channel at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcat productions. There you can request a trade to be put in the randomizer, aka the cardboard box. And as always, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.